Welcome back to our hideaway. On this episode, we are going to be creating new habitats other than the ones you see moving with the tractor here. These were more for the bait fish. They create little nooks and crannies for them to be able to hide in. They're made out of old pallets that we had, as well as some extra fencing material and then filled with brush. The previous episode shows how we actually made those, and we'll be marking them with decoy ducks so that we don't hang our hooks up in there when fishing. On this episode, we're going to be using pots from trees that we had planted on the property because the price of 5-gallon buckets was crazy for the amount that we were going to need, as well as some drip irrigation line that we had left over when we ran drip irrigation to our trees. And then we're just going to fill them with concrete. So you'll see that coming up on this episode.
City life and the crazy nights. Figure I should probably give it a try. Maybe check it out, see what it's all about. But the traffic was fast and the money was slow. The people I met you never get to know. I kinda miss this place I used to live back home. 'Cause up here it's breakneck, paycheck, rat race. What's next? I'm tired of feeling like a small fish in a big pond. I think I'll go back where I came from, where everybody knows my name. My friends are still the same. I guess the slow life hit me just right, like a bonfire on a cold night. Hell, and you can keep your 9 to 5. Happy with the simple life. Yeah, I ain't here to try to change your mind. I'm trying to save you time, in case you're thinking about breaking out the bucket list. Girl, you can skip this funny business. 'Cause up there it's complicated and overrated. Down here everything is understated. That's alright by me. I got everything that I need, but there is breakneck, paycheck, rat race. What's next? I'm tired of feeling like a small fish in a big pond. I think I'll go back where I came from, where everybody knows my name. All my friends are still the same. I guess the slow life hit me just right, like a bonfire on a cold night. Yeah, you can keep your 9 to 5, 'cause I'm happy with the simple life. Tired of feeling like a small fish in a big pond. I think I'll go back where I came from, where everybody knew my name, and all my friends are still the same. I guess the slow life hit me just right, like a bonfire on a cold night. Hell, you can keep your 9 to 5, 'cause I'm happy with the simple life. Oh Lord, you can keep your 9 to 5.
Here you can see the last step of this process, which there's only 3 steps really. It's drilling holes in the pot, cutting your 4 to 5 foot tubing, and then fishing it through, putting the concrete in. That's pretty much it. It's very simple. And again, we did this all with materials that we had lying around. So it didn't cost us anything other than the concrete bags, which was fairly cheap. In each of these pots, I put 1 60-pound bag of Quikrete. The biggest challenge with this was getting them to stay upright. The tubing, it kept wanting to flop over with that top weight. Those longer ones had the weight at the top, so it would want to sag to the ground. A quick solution that I found for this is just getting this concrete to support it a little bit better. As you can see, I shimmied it in and out really quick, and that helps move that concrete downward into that pot to help support that drip irrigation line where you want it until that concrete cures completely. Now just following that same process a bunch more times to get all these done. My wife says these look like anemones, which I agree they very much do, which is great because in the wild, anemones are used by clownfish for a hiding place and for a home. Hopefully that serves the same purpose here for our pond. Obviously not for clownfish so much, but bass and bait fish alike. The other great thing about these is they should last indefinitely. It's just tubing that won't be really exposed to the elements or the hot sun, and concrete, which will be underwater. It should last as long as I should. I will probably be making more of these in the future because we still have a bunch of pots and a bunch of drip irrigation lying around. So we will probably start lowering these in some areas once the pond starts to fill up and we can see where the fish would be gathering. We may use these to spread out that population a little bit more. One last positive on these is that there is a slim chance that your lure, your hook is going to get caught up on one of these, being as they're flexible, unlike the other bait fish habitats that we had built where we have to be a little more wary of. These should be pretty much risk-free when it comes to fishing. I wasn't entirely sure how I wanted to put these throughout the pond, whether I wanted to do them peppered through, one in each spot, or if I wanted them in groups of 2 or groups of 3. I figured once I set them out there, that'll give me a better idea of what kind of protection and what kind of habitat they're going to create in that group of 2, group of 3, or singled out and just peppered through. After looking at it, I figured since we're going to be making more, I would rather put them in larger groups to maximize the habitat protection for the fish. So we'll probably just use all these in a couple locations and end up making more. I know it seems like I'm just driving around aimlessly in the pond here, but what you're not able to see on camera is the immense elevation changes and some drop-offs that are here that I was worried about honestly tipping the tractor on. So I'm having to go more towards the banks so that the grade changes in a way where the tractor could easily get up and I don't have the risk of tipping. One of the next things on the list for this 2-acre pond is to get all of these wood structures anchored down with either concrete or cinder blocks and some rope. As soon as we start getting some water in here, I think it will fill up quick, and I will never get to put these structures back where I have them if they're not properly anchored. Zeus and I went up to Tractor Supply to grab some winter ryegrass seed for the hill. I know that we need the rain for the pond to fill up, but at the same time, the grade of this hill, if we get heavy rains, I'm worried it's just going to wash it away and we'll start having erosion issues. My plan is that in the spring, we will have somebody come out and hydro seed with a mixed grass variety, and that will stick a lot better than normal grass seed once that tackifier is in there. So that's going to be the plan, but we have to limp by until that day comes. They will not recommend a seed for the winter other than winter rye. So I figured we'll just band-aid it for now. It looks like we don't have much rain in the forecast anyways, and the Farmer's Almanac was calling for a drier than normal winter. So let's hope they're right. You can see that I pretty much gave up on this spreader. The hill was too steep and it kept dumping the seed off to the sides. On the next episode, you'll get a close-up of us installing those dock pilings you can see in the background. We'll also start building the frame for the dock on those pilings, as well as anchoring all of the wooded structure that we have currently placed in the pond. After throwing out about 11 bags of this winter ryegrass, my shoulder is shot. We look forward to see you on the next one. We appreciate you watching our videos.